Hello, and welcome to 10 Minutes That Can Change Your Life. This program is brought to you each week by the Port Huron Church of Christ, located at 756 17th Street, right here in the city of Port Huron. We want to thank you for tuning in and joining us today. And if you are enjoying this program, we want to ask you for a favor. Would you please share this with your friends on Facebook? We would really appreciate it, and thanks in advance. Today, I want to talk to you about anger. You know, anger is a common human emotion which we all share to some extent. What differs in this is that how we react to anger. We will discover through our time together today that people react much differently when angry. So let me ask you, when was the last time someone did or said something to you that made you blow your cool? And when you blew your cool, what did you do or say? How did you express yourself? Was it out of control and ugly? And does this happen often? I want to talk to you about the volcano, the bear, the samurai, the rocket, and the tornado. That's the volcano, the bear, the samurai, the rocket, and the tornado. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to see if you can see yourself in any of these. Let's start with the volcano. We all know this type of person. They appear reasonably calm on the surface, giving the impression that nothing phases them and that everything just kind of rolls off of them until one day, when they have had enough and can't hold it in any longer, they explode violently like a volcano. Now, at this point, their actions are unpredictable because when they blow, they are out of control and capable of anything. You know, it's very easy to push a volcano too far because there's no indication on the surface to gauge their level of irritation. However, when they blow, it's best to get out of their way and to run for cover. Next, we have the bear. I call this person the bear because that is how they act when they get angry and lose control. When they lose control, they exhibit violent traits and they come after you like a bear with bad intentions of doing bodily harm. When they lose it, their only thought is to extinguish their anger, and that is to devour the person who angered them. So, if you know a bear, be extra careful of them, because when they begin to boil over, run. Next, we have the samurai. I call this person the samurai because once they get angry and lose control, they use their tongue like a samurai sword and attempt to verbally cut you to pieces. For the samurai, once their anger reaches a state of expression, flames shoot from their mouths and they will say any and everything to you they can think of. And not only do they vehemently curse you, but will also use their words to inflict as much hurt and pain in their victims as humanly possible. The samurai plays for keeps and harbors no regrets for one word uttered during their verbal barrage. So interacting often with a samurai can be a relationship full of lasting hurt and pain. Next, we have the rocket. I call this person the rocket. They are people who are rockets because they have very short fuses, and one wrong word to them or one thing that happens which they don't like, and boom, their engines instantly ignite, smoke pours from their ears, and before you can take a breath, they blast it off into the stratosphere where they remain boiling until they can cool off, gain control of themselves, at which time they come back to earth until the next moment when they blast off again. The best part about a rocket is that they rarely do harm to anyone else. Oh, they may utter a few choice words, but they are not particularly violent. They just blast off and eventually return to normal. That's the rocket. Lastly, we have the tornado. Now, it's very common for the tornado, once they get angry and discharge, they choose to express their anger by throwing things, breaking stuff, knocking over things, ripping up stuff, anything that they can think of. They have a tendency to reduce their immediate environment to rubble. And actually, the more intense their anger, the larger the pile of rubble. So, much like the effects of a tornado. Tornadoes only care about their pain and anger. So, it's not a good idea to keep company with a person in the presence of a tornado moment. My advice to you is to leave until their storm has passed. Now, this list is not exhaustive by any means, and I'm confident that we can think of many more, but since we only have 10 minutes, I'm confident that most of us fall into one or more of these categories. So I think this list is sufficient for today. Oh, I have one more disclaimer. This information is not backed by any professional data, just my personal impressions based on my 63 years of experience on the planet. You know, I know a thing or two because I have seen a thing or two. Let me give you 5 suggestions for combating and controlling your anger. Number 1, stay away from people who like to push your buttons. We all have these people. Once they exhibit an enjoyable habit of pushing your buttons, it's time to limit their access to you and your button. Once they find the thrill of pushing your button without a reaction is gone, they will lose interest and cease in their attempts to push it. Remember, you and your emotions are not anyone's toy, so stay away from them. Number 2, disable your hot button. It's not easy, but you would do well to work at lessening the effects of your button. If you blow up, work on not allowing yourself to lose control. And this leads to number 3. Learn to express your anger without blowing up. Our reaction to anger is basically a choice. Just as other behaviors we are compelled to modify, blowing up from anger can be modified as well. There are healthy ways to express anger and displeasure without total eruption. So, find and develop an anti-eruption strategy that works for you and put it into practice. You will be much happier with how you react. Number 4, and this is a warning, eruptions have consequences. You know, each time you allow yourself to erupt in any fashion, you risk the consequences of your actions. It could damage a relationship or a friendship. It could cost you your job or the respect of your coworkers or peers. It could cost you your self-respect. If you consider the consequences, it will provide incentive to work on minimizing and extinguishing your eruptions. And lastly, number 5, you are better than your eruptions. You know, we give ourselves permission to erupt with a let the pieces fall where they may mentality. That mentality is not only destructive, it also downgrades who you are trying to become. It's necessary to shed old habits as we seek to be the best possible version of ourselves. You are in control. You master how you act and react. Choose to react in a way in which you decide, not just what happens without thought. Look, if you choose and are willing to dig up the weeds of bad attitudes in your life and plant new actions and reactions, you will find that you can change your life 10 minutes at a time. This is Lamar Black, the minister of the Port Huron Church of Christ, encouraging you to become the best you can be 10 minutes at a time. We thank you for tuning in and joining us. Don't forget to share this program on Facebook, and we'll see you right here next week with more ways to change your life 10 minutes at a time. Stay in, stay safe. See you next week.